In 2024, we won an award. So at the xpel dealer conference, they called our name for the Automotive Window Film Dealer of the Year. Nobody in the United States sold more automotive window film than my company, Blackout Tinting. Now that took into consideration all of our locations. Through some of that time, that was 4 locations, but definitely 3 solid ones. And it's a far cry from where I came in 2011 when I started with $200 and had no idea how to tint a car. I watched a couple of YouTube videos and that's how I got started. So why am I telling you that story? Not just to brag. I want you to understand that the tips that I'm about to give you on how to become the top 1% of tint shops in the United States are real. I think I can claim that because I was #1 for xpel, minus Sunstoppers and Tint World, which were like basically national franchises. I was the biggest amongst all other shops. Of course, there's other brands. There's some big shops there. That's why we say top 1% and not the top. And I think #1 should be fairly obvious and kind of speak for itself, and that is to just focus on quality. When I first started, I knew nothing about anything, nothing about business, nothing about a tint shop, nothing about how to run a tint shop or hire employees. But the one thing that I did understand, I guess just innately, was you must produce good work. And all of our focus was on that. When it was just a one-man show, just me, all I cared about was quality. I can remember still nights when I would be there till 10 or 11 o'clock tinting the same window over and over again. There's a Ford Thunderbird in my head. I think it was like the 80s or 90s, whatever. They did that run of Thunderbirds for a while. It has a really challenging back window, and I was there until like midnight, just tinting this window over and over again. Customer was standing there with me, and there were definitely some uncomfortable moments, but it taught me that quality really, really does matter, because what started to happen is people started to tell people, hey, this guy's really good at tinting windows, and then we just grew. Eventually, we added marketing and all the other fancy stuff that you see us doing now, but for a long time, there was no marketing because there was no money. The only thing that I did was do really, really excellent quality work. So that's something that, we have almost 30 employees now, 3 locations across different states. We still try to instill that in our employees as much as possible. Our core values are focused around things like that. So we really believe in quality, and I think that if you want to be the best, you should too. #2, this was a tip given to me about 2 years after I was in business. There's a gentleman named Andy from Texas that I still talk to today as a consultant. He watched me one day in my shop just sort of running around and doing everything, like I'm sure a lot of you are that own shops. And what he ended up explaining to me was that I needed a dedicated salesperson, a dedicated customer service person. And I pushed back. I said, I can't afford that. I don't have any money. That's an extra expense that I can't afford. And he said, you can't afford not to. And at the time, I laughed at him. Shortly after that, I did end up hiring that position, because the more I thought about it, the more I thought he might be right. Well, I can tell you from experience, he absolutely is right. You need to get somebody, unless it's you, then you need to backfill on the technician side. But I still wanted to be the guy doing the tint. And for me, I needed to backfill on the sales side. So I needed someone to answer those phones and to check in customers and to talk to the 72-year-old guy about his Chevy Nova for 3.5 hours in the middle of the day when I should have been tinting a car. So hiring that person was a game changer. And even now, I'm surprised at how many of our larger competitors don't really have a dedicated customer service team. And so if you're a customer and you get something done and you have a problem, you end up having to call this place 2, 3, 4 times, leave voicemails, and maybe in 2 days they'll get back to you because they're too busy in the back working on a car. And to me, it's a broken mentality. It's something that screams that the owner is cheap to me, and that they're not willing to invest in their company to take it to the next level. If you are a tint shop and you want more help, we actually have sort of a extra thing that we do. It's called the Shop Support Group. Visit shopsupportgroup.com. The link will be here. Feel free to sign up. We do a free webinar once a month that will definitely help you increase your revenue and grow your business. And then we have a paid group that's a reasonable amount of money. And we have a monthly Q&A as well as a monthly deep dive into a topic. So like last month's topic was building out your sales process, and we work with you to make that happen with our tighter group of people that are really committed, that are paying for it. Tip #3, generic, I know, but don't stop learning. For real, read books, figure out what your weakness is and attack that. For me, I was a great tinter, but I was really bad at sales and customer service. So what did I do? I put almost all of my focus on getting better at that and figuring that stuff out. At some point, if you are a shop owner and you want to go from window tinter to shop owner, if you want to be able to take a vacation and still make money, things like that. If you want to grow to multiple locations, like a lot of you guys have ambitions to do, you're going to have to figure out how to transition from a technician to an owner. And that can be really hard to do, especially if you are that hands-on guy. It's really challenging to hand over the reins to somebody because nobody's going to do it as good as you. That's what you think, and you're partially right, but you really shouldn't expect them to do it as good as you. You are the owner. All of your chips are in on this company. They're even the best employees. They're not quite at that level of risk and dedication. So you have to be okay with employees doing a really great job, but maybe not doing everything exactly the way you do. Why I'm saying that is because in order to transition to owner, you have to learn, you have to never stop learning about how to hire, how to fire, how to train people, how to build systems and processes. And it's really all about constantly learning. Every single day, I'm still trying to elevate my leadership skills and management skills and figure out how we can go from 3 locations to 100. Number 4, hire good people. And this is easier said than done. And almost any business on earth would be really successful if they hired great people, right? It's extremely important. I can't overstate how important this is. Some of our biggest successes have been because we've got really, really, really great people here that want to be here, that have stayed here for a long time. And on the flip side of that, you better treat them well. They should be making money. You should be helping them achieve their dreams. It should not always just be about you. Should you make more money as the business owner than your employees? Absolutely. The risk is yours. If something horrible happens, they can walk away and go get a new job. If something horrible happens for you, you're stuck in a lease or a mortgage, and you've got all this risk involved. You don't have a plan B typically if you're a business owner. You need to make sure you're hiring really great people. But if you don't, if you miss the mark, and you will, I do often, fire them and do it fast. Don't sit around and think they're going to get better. Don't sit around and think, well, maybe that's just a fluke. If you're noticing patterns, if people, they're just not getting it, trust me, it's not good for them and it's not good for you if you keep them there. They need to go away. Don't be afraid to fire people. There's always other great people out there that want to work for you. Sometimes it's a development issue. You do have to understand that you need to develop people and help them grow. But if it's somebody that you hire in a month in, you're like, man, this person's really not getting it, get rid of them now. And number 5, a rookie mistake I see shops make all the time is they brand hop. They just jump from one material to another material, and they think that, every time some new company announces some new technology, they jump over to that and say, hey, we're now offering the best products. Well, 2 months ago, you were offering the best products and it was a completely different product. So which is it? You lose a lot of credibility that way. And also you never build the relationships with the vendor that you should have. Things to get better pricing, things to get special treatment when you make a phone call and say, crap, I forgot to order this. I need this overnighted. Can you help me out? All that kind of stuff comes with loyalty and time and relationships. And you can't build that if you're switching to a different brand every 3 or 4 months. So my advice, find a solid company, stick with them, unless there's some, egregious offense that you can't live with. I would ride it out with that company pretty much as long as you can. Now, we've switched brands before. When we first started in 2011, we used Suntech, and that was because Suntech would sell to anybody. There was no minimums. They have a decent quality film, but that's what we started with. We got into 3M once we had the number for the minimum buy-in. I think it was like $10,000 or something for the buy-in. We worked with 3M for a very long time, and xpel convinced us that it was a better option to go with them, I don't know, 7 years ago, 6 years ago at this point. And we've been very loyal to them. People knock on our door almost every day, as you can imagine, being one of the biggest shops in the United States. Everybody wants our business, but you just have to have enough self-control to say, look, this entry-level offer that you're giving me, I know is not going to be around forever, and stick to your guns. It's kind of like credit card companies. They'll come at you and give you 0% interest on this new credit card, and you end up opening 20 credit cards if you don't control yourself on that. So don't brand hop. Find one that you like and stick with it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this kind of content. It's sort of outside of our regular stuff that we do. I enjoy doing the business owner stuff a lot. This is what I do day in and day out. I'm not really installing anymore, so I like to be able to share that with you. And we realize that we have a lot of shop owners that tune into our channel. So thank you guys very much. If you like this kind of content, make sure you comment, give us a like, let us know what else you want to see, and we'll talk about it.